So there's a lot of connection between manipulative people and abuse. There's a lot of connection with it. In fact, most people who are abusers are manipulative. Not in all cases, but most cases.
What's up, everybody? We are back with another podcast episode. This is Menisms. This is Michael Scenario with my guy
Madeaux Koya.
And we're back with another episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you guys, of course. First thing, as always, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you follow our social media handles. Make sure you subscribe to our audio channels too. And again, we're going to just keep coming back with more and more good content for you guys. So as usual, we're going to start the show with the question. My brother, we will start the questions off for us.
Yeah, so let me go with this one first. So this one says, this is my take. I don't necessarily because of the views discussed here per se, but I have heard the younger generation talk about this. There's a lot of good and advantages on how our parents trained us. Leave the present day cool card of trauma people play. I'm not yet married, but there's no way I will have my kid tell me he kissed or is having sex at 13. Well, I'd be happy he's trusted me enough to talk to me, but not to the sort of openness I will promote. Lost my dad when I was like 13, 14. I obviously miss him, but I kind of think it made me better. I miss stuff like during uni when my friends' dads come around or bring them to school, but that's about that. We turned out all right now. I remember the wrong things about my dad, and I upgraded on it. Okay. Again, of course, I can't disagree with what anyone feels like they have chosen as a path to live their lives. Although I think there's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen here, right? Because as much as he says he turned out all right, turned out all right is a personal perspective. Like, people who are crazy say they turned out all right, right? I think it's really important that he or she, I'm not sure if it's a he or she, but I think it's a he, yeah. So I think he needs to be open to the fact that there's a problem in not being okay with your child being as open with you as they should be. I think it's a problem he needs to try and fix before even getting married, right? Now, this is my own take. He doesn't have to agree with it. Other people don't have to agree with it. But my own take is that I think he needs to actually talk to someone professional about the fact that he's not willing to openly listen to what, his child has to say. Because what that easily translates to is that his child will forever be living under his shadow. There's never going to be a point where what the child wants is actually what the child wants. What the child says they want will be a reflection of what, my father cannot hear that I want something else apart from this one, right? And this is how a lot of children end up confiding in other people outside their parents and ending up learning the things they could have easily be corrected themselves with in-house without the embarrassment. Sometimes when you learn things from outside family members, it might come with some consequences, like it might come with small embarrassments. It might come with small disrespect. It might come with small, but you've learned a lesson. But those are things you could have avoided if you decided to just come to your parents with it, right? So again, I can't fully disagree, but I don't think it's the way to go to say you do not want to be openly.
I think because he said he focused, to just focus on the topic he said in terms of there's no way I would have my kid telling me he kissed or having sex at 13. Because you're right in what you say in terms of you can't just say you're not going to hear your child out no matter the age. Yeah. Understandably, at that age, you don't want to hear it.
Yes.
If it comes, you have to actually listen.
It should be part of what happens.
I know, being a child. I was just relating to this because it's like I said, I talked about it in maybe in one of our episodes about our dads, like at 13, 14.
I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, so it's like I said, seeing my dad at that age, I talked not just about girls, but even having sex or them stuff is like, my dad maybe was not ready because obviously we don't live together. I'm visiting. But the fact that my son is able to come to me, it gives him a comfortability and also a peace of mind. And that's what I would advise to him as a parent, that there's a peace of mind that you should have, that, like you said, your child is able to come to you. That means they trust you, because like we said in our episode before, the parent should be the number one person a child trusts. A lot of parents in Nigeria, they always say, I don't want to be my child's friend. Or no, nobody is saying you should be best friends with your child.
Yeah,
but you should still be friend enough that we trust you, because in the end, we're not supposed to trust our friends outside or outside family members more than you trust your own blood. And even our own blood is not aunties, uncles, it's you. So I think that's why, like you said, you need to he should open up more to the idea that
I think so
your
too.
child opening up to you means that your child trusts you enough to say, Dad, these are the issues I'm going to. Because imagine if your child holds that now, right? Takes it along with him saying, okay, I'm not going to tell my dad anything. I'll just figure out everything. But he's doing every single thing wrong. Then years later, if something should happen now, like all these sexual harassment cases, all that happen, how can my child do that kind of thing? It's because you didn't allow them to open up to you.
Yeah, and I think, so again, I can't fully blame him, because we're also in the society where you're pushed in the direction where you are a parent and they are children. You know, there's a hierarchy, and
it's ego. It's ego. Let's be honest, it's ego.
And that hierarchy thing is our major problem here, because. So I'll tell you even something that happened to me, or something that used to happen to me while I was growing up. Right? You know, when you're talking to, let's say you have two friends in the corner of the room, and then you're trying to address them. You will say things like, "Oh, you guys should come over to this side. You guys." Now, see that? You guys. Now, let me tell you something. I used to have this. My parents used to have this problem with, or my mom in particular used to have this problem with, why are you calling you guys? Are we your mates? That thing put a wall that I couldn't break down for a very long time, because I'm not saying you guys on a disrespectful level, right? I'm saying it based on, I'm used to collectively, I mean, it's my mom and dad. I won't say you, daddy, and you, mommy should come. I'm just like, okay, you guys, I think you guys should just hear me out. You know, so I feel like there was no disrespect in it, but the fact that you're already giving me that wall. So I can't blame him. This is where I'm going to. I can't blame him, because it's a lot of stuff to unlearn, right? We all grow up. Now, imagine if I was in a place where I didn't want to, still open myself up with my parents. And that wall that they built up, I just kept it there. And me too, I'll carry that wall, give it to my child, make sure that he knows that, look, this is parent, this is child, we are no mates. If I didn't want to unlearn that, I too would be going with the mindset of, how can you be calling me you guys? Do you understand what I'm saying? So I can't blame him fully, but I think he needs to take his time to understand. Look, as much as he believes that this is what he believes, it has a counter effect on a child growing up. No matter what, any relationship always turns out better when both parties are open with it. Any relationship, literally, right?
It depends. Some people don't know. I don't know, but just because of time, we're going to move on to the next question.
Okay.
Next question, but thank you again. That was actually a very good. Again, keep coming with these questions or comments. We want these. So next one, my 2 cents on gift giving. Anyone can give gifts, but it takes a true lover to give thoughtful gifts. The word to know is thoughtful, because for you to be able to do that at a friendship level or relationship level, you must be connected to someone on a deep level. To know what is right for someone, to know what you think someone will appreciate. And most times it's not tangible, it's more tangible. Now, there's a problem I have with this statement. It's a good statement, I like it, but this is the only problem I have with statements like this, is that you cannot force your opinion on other people. Here's what I mean, is if you read it's like, a thoughtful person will know this, a thought will know this. It's like you can't assume everybody knows something, because everybody is still learning something. Everybody's journey is different. Give you a perfect example. Even this love languages thing that people talk about now, not everybody learns it early, learns it late. You get what I'm saying? It's different. Say, I learned it late. Okay. It's like there's some things you subconsciously know or you do as yourself. But to actually understand the concept, or understand there's a love language for this person, there's a love language for that, you have to learn it. So you can't blame somebody when they don't know it. It's if they understand it and know it that you start saying, yeah. So that's why I say with statements like that, it's like, I understand where she's coming from. Mm-hmm. However, at the same time, there's that love language of, they don't understand that's your love language, or are you yourself communicating enough to that person like, hey, I like this. I'll give you an example. I dated a girl one time that her love language is gifts. My love language is quality time. At the time, I'm just thinking, I'm spending quality time with you. We go out all the time, stuff like that. We spend time, we talk, like we're, together all the time. I genuinely do love you, like you, like. She's like, what am I not doing? But it's the gifts. And it's not like she's expecting, go and buy me this, but she just likes the thoughtful stuff and all. But I don't understand that because before I've never been taught what the fuck is love language, love kini, like what's that? But it's like, when we start having talks now, she starts saying, you never heard of it? No. Okay, this is what it is. Oh, so you actually like this. I thought you but you enjoy every time we're doing this already. You get what I'm saying? But you're not, but because she's finally communicated, it's like, okay, I understand that now. You get what I'm saying? So what do you think about it?
So, I mean, I think, well, to be fair, on the poster side, I think what he or she might have been talking about with the thoughtful gifts is, so by definition, if someone is defined as thoughtful, it should come with knowing the things you want. Like, so if someone told me that I was a thoughtful person to somebody else, I imagine that the reason they're using the word thoughtful to describe me is because I have learned what the person would like and what the person won't like. So, to be fair, because I understand the angle you were coming from, but maybe it's also to be fair and look at the person's poster side of the story. Poster side of the story. I think them saying that, thoughtful people should be able to give on a level that is deeper than normal gift giving, I guess is because by the definition of the word thoughtful, it means you're actually going the extra mile to think a little more than the average person is thinking. So, but it's a very strong point because the whole disconnect between love languages and, because here's the thing, in the context we're in, which is Lagos, right? Or even Nigeria generally, guys give, but they are hardly thoughtful. It's a very lazy. Let me stop saying
speak
lazy way. But actually, honestly, it's a very lazy way to woo a woman, because they already know, women like money. The next thing you come, I mean, we see these things around a lot. You can be outside by the bar, you send somebody a bottle of whatever it is, or you can be working in the same workspace, or maybe somebody like now, maybe I want to meet your own female friend, or I find her attractive, and I say, okay, you know what? Let me send that one perfume. And say, it's things like that. You don't even know if the person is a perfume person. You don't even know if that perfume wants to get something they already had or something they already hated. But it's just a lazy way of.
I did that to a girl once. I sent her something like it was even something small, thinking like, you know what? Let me just send her something. She may like it, like because in my head she may like nice, it. Yeah. Do you know? At the day she's like, "Oh, thank you, I appreciate the thought and all that." Later on I found out what I sent her she hated.
Yes, and that's why I really understand what where the questions come from, because it can actually be annoying when someone says they're trying to gift you and it's something. Like, you have to end up gifting now, so you don't have to see it every day. Like, so you're not just annoyed by the fact that it's here from someone you don't even really find attractive, and that was supposed to be the break. Like, okay, you know what? I don't find you attractive, but this thing was really thoughtful. It means that you are intentional, but you're not. Clearly, you just went to go and buy what is expensive because everybody seems to like it, so you think I will like it too. So no problem. So I think I really understand where they're coming from with that, and I think it's something that we all need to learn from and be more thoughtful in apart from just gift giving, even the other aspects of the love languages, quality time. Be thoughtful in quality time, because quality time doesn't necessarily mean that they want to do everything you want to do. So I mean, there's so much thoughtfulness that comes in. Yeah.
It's a lot of learning. That's what I say. It's a lot of learning. Yeah. But again, great questions. Shout out to everybody that keeps sending them. We'll keep picking random ones, so don't think we're choosing and all that. Yeah. So we're going to jump into the topic today. Now, today's topic is very interesting. Yeah. Today's topic is abusive relationships among men, because we already know in society today, we hear about, unfortunately, the abusive relationships among women. But just for conversation's sake, we never talk about the other side, because we know, I mean, us as men, at least for me personally, I'm a big advocate, like, no matter what the situation is, don't hit a woman, try and walk away. I've been in those situations where it's like, you got to walk away. Like, and it's like, I've never hit a woman just because, like, I know how I've been brought up. I'm sure vice versa. But then there's the other side of men that actually get abused in relationships. And obviously, when we hear the word abuse, you obviously first thought it's physical. But abuse is not just physical, it's also emotional, it's
also mental,
and all that. So
verbal.
A lot of men actually go through abuse, but society doesn't allow us to really focus on that abuse, because our abuse at more times than not is more mental abuse, more emotional abuse. So it's something where it's like your feelings are not really regarded as a guy. It's just like you just know the guy is going through this, and it's not until the situation is highlighted as a physical thing, which more times involves the man being physical to the woman, that you talk about it. But just to talk about it in general, I feel like it's something, we don't talk about it as men, because it's a very prideful thing for you to open up to another man and say, hey, this girl was, as in a Niger context, as Africans would say, this girl, they abused me. Oh. Then even even you see how you're laughing now, it's like, even to say now, like, this girl, like, it's not something you would just say, but some guys may be going through it, and even, it's not just Nigeria, around the world go through it, So, I mean, what are your thoughts about it, like, in terms of emotional abuse or abuse amongst men?
So I've been in an abusive relationship before, actually. And it was actually physical and emotional. I'm not even going to say if he's one of my ex-girlfriends. I'm not going to say if it's somebody
that's fine. You don't need to give the full details.
So I'm not going to say if it's someone I was just talking to all the time. But I've just been in an abusive situation before that I couldn't come out of in the time being.
Why?
So of course, feelings I had for the person would tie me in. But at the same time, what was really holding me in was that I wasn't considering those things as red flags. I was just considering them as, I'm a man. Fine, she's upset. I guess she hits me. It's not something that I'll just walk away from. It's not. I was giving excuses for her, right? Especially because I'm in a society where it's not something I can complain about. If I go to the next day, like, why are you not acting like a baby?
Yeah, baby. Are you
a small boy? Are you a small? Are you not a man? Right? So, and that abuse thing doesn't actually allow people create the awareness that it's actually a thing. Like, women sometimes would hit the man if they're upset or if they see something, and just like how a man would hit, it happens for men as well. Like, and I've experienced it firsthand. And the first time I experienced it, it seemed like a mistake, right? But it was stirred up by anger. But I put it off as, okay, you know what? This has never happened before. Maybe it's like a one-off. We never really spoke about it. I didn't want to make a big deal of it again. And I think that's also the man side of it. Like, I didn't want to confront her about it because it was just a shove. Let me just leave it as is, right?
Yeah.
The second time that it happened was a punch. Now, fortunately, actually, I haven't been in a lot of physically abusive situations, but in this case, second time was a punch. And like a punch that you would look at me and be like, okay, I would decked you. Do you get? And I still won't be able to say. I don't know. There's something about being in an abusive situation where you're kind of saving the person's face, especially if they have other traits that you are still, emotionally attached to. So it's almost like how some families will still be protecting the abusive father. It's not because it's not because we think he's not an abusive man, but because he has other traits that it could be that when he's not on his abusive days, he's a funny man, he's entertaining, he's a happy person, just stuff like that makes you want to look the other way or to turn a blind eye. But I'll say this firsthand, it was the most unhealthy thing I could ever do to myself, and I think there's still a lot of trauma that I lived through that I'm still trying to recover from, because I find myself in situations where somebody would just mistakenly almost raise their hand, and I'm already trying to dodge. And then the person would even have to say, oh, no, I'm not trying to hit you. In that time, I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm doing it again, And the worst part of this entire experience was that there was nobody. When I say there was nobody I could talk to about this, I mean literally nobody. Because unfortunately for where we've been raised, we have to force ourselves to first imagine what the person's reaction will be. Before you go to anybody with any kind of advice or anything, you're like, you know what? In your brain, you're already playing the scenario out to say, okay, if I tell the person this now, would they even listen to me? Okay, if they listen to me.
And that's just a downside of the Nigerian society.
Yeah, so they can even abuse me. Forget about it. And then you just never seek, any kind of counseling. You never seek any kind of help, no advice, nothing. I couldn't even tell her friends about this because I could already see it as a denial thing, and that's now another aspect of the abuse I'll talk about. The emotional abuse was ridiculous. You get. And it's been more than one person. I've had emotional abuse from several people, but I can only really talk about a few people and a few experiences, right? And in this particular case, I had started talking to her. We're pretty much dating. We're dating already.
Before you go to the emotional abuse, because I just want to focus on the
physical first. Okay.
So we jump because you brought up some points now. So it's like, it's something a lot of men, well, first off, respect for admitting it, because a lot of men don't admit they've been in that situation when they've actually been in that situation. At least, like you said, even for me, I've personally, I've only indirectly been in it once, but I won't even say I've been in it, because the way I was brought up is like, I sort of had my trauma early.
Okay.
So my trauma early came from like older cousins, all them shits, like your parents too, is like them spanks and hits and all that. Is like, you just tell, like, as I got older, especially growing up like in Yankees, like as I got older, especially my teenage years, I'm like, look, as I get older and getting a little bigger, not that I'm the biggest, but I'm old enough to control like my body.
Yeah.
If anybody hits me, I'm hitting you back. So that's like, even though, like, that's my reaction as a teenager. And I think we talked about it off camera, like about the Yankee things, like, yo, at this age now, if anybody hits me, I'm hitting you back.
They
like,
literally grow you to be your own man.
Because even girls there, because like even in America, like I said, this is like as a teenager thinking, by the way, for people to understand, it's like where I'm from in Atlanta, girls can fight. You get what I'm saying? Like, girls can fight from Atlanta. Like, so it's like, even that abusive thing you say, like, even at that age, I'm already like, yo, I'm rocking that. Even the girl in my school, like, I'm never gonna hit a woman, but if they're attacking me, I'm already ready to swing, because I know I've seen it. Like, I saw girls get in fights with guys in my school. Like, I've seen a girl beat up a guy. There was a girl named Brianna, 6'2". I'll never forget. At 15, this girl's 6'2", and it's like, she's big. And I remember there was one guy she kept messing with and all that, and then the guy, like, you know, was trying to talk to her and all that, and then boom, it's a fight. And it's like, everybody's talking about like, like, he shouldn't attack her and all that. But it's like, yo, this girl is literally attacking him. So it's like, from seeing that, fast forward, the kind of girls I went for were opposite. It's more of like the gentle sort, because I know my upbringing, I know people around. It's like, especially being Yoruba, it's aggressive. It's like, I want a girl that's soft. But before I learned that, obviously I experimented. And like you, was like, I had maybe one experience of a girl that used to like play hit me and shit. And you'll be like, you know, haha, and all that. Like, yo, you better, like, for me personally, like, yo, chill out and shit. And then obviously if you like her, like, I started liking her later, that I'll allow some shit. Yeah. But then eventually there's a point like, I'm like, I can't deal with this. You understand? So it's like, even me, now that you've even brought up, you know, like you said, actually there's a physical side that men go through, but I can understand that pride of not being able to talk about it, because, like I said, even for you to just mention it to your guy now, especially in the Nigerian culture, what do you expect the reply to be?
You know, it's funny because I don't even think I've ever had to share any kind of intricate detail with any of my guys, especially regarding anything abusive. Like, because the first thing you're thinking is, they'll first see you as, you see, it can come in several ways. They can either say, and you just sat there and took it, almost like you had another choice.
Like, why didn't you retaliate or something?
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, okay, first of all, I'm not even ever going to lay a hand, like, no matter what, except I'm actually self-defending, where the person's actually about to kill me. Do you get it?
Exactly.
Then now we do. But if it's like all those spontaneous reactions that even you don't see coming, right? I'll just have a face of shock. But I'm never going to like now say, oh, she slapped me, I must slap my own back. No, it doesn't work that way. So sometimes the fact that you may not even want to hear those takes from your guys is why you even just like, you know what, it wasn't even a big deal. Let me just. So a lot of us.
But
just,
then you saying that now is still. Don't you feel that's a defense mechanism?
It is. Terms of, I wouldn't even lie.
We are overthinking. I'm not saying you to blame. I'm saying more of just us as men. We're already overthinking.
Because it's not even a normal thing to.
Because what I've realized, even amongst my guys, especially guys in Nigeria, when I have some talks with them about stuff, they open up to me more, because like I've opened up that floor, like, oh, this guy, they do this thing to, bro, this is this, and then it's like, you too. So it's like we can actually talk about this, but it's like that defense, we're already scared to even ask the question. But let me ask you this now, because again, like we said, abuse is not just physical, there's the emotional.
Yeah.
And even for me, I'll admit I've been through that shit, but it's like I would not admit it because it's like you chop it then and there, but you don't realize that thing stays in you. Like there's one statement I already think of it, and the thing is, the girl and I are cool to today. She's a good G, like she was good to me and all, but I still can't forget what she said, and it was like, "Do you want to be a broke nigga forever?" I'll never forget this thing. It was in my final year of uni, and she was making money because she started working like a job like while she was a student. Mind you, she's a home student.
Okay.
Which means she can
has
work.
Time, yeah.
International students, we know if you, especially undergrad time, I couldn't work.
Yeah.
Because I'm already playing sports, doing this, so I don't even have time to, So at that point now, she's like comparing how she's making money, but I think she liked me at the time.
Okay.
So she wanted me to be something she already envisioned because she's like, "Oh my, why you not making money like this? Look at these boys compared to
almost
other boys."
Almost like that was the last piece of the puzzle she needed you to fit in.
Yeah,
For you to be her spec.
And I looked at her one day, and she was going in, and I looked at her, and I was like, because me, I'm the kind of person, everybody knows me. If you talk about me, I'll talk about you back. Like the way I'm from, like in Atlanta,
give and take.
But this was one of the few times I was quiet because it's like, you're my friend. You know me. You know, even my situation, especially being an international student, all this stuff, I can't work. I'm already doing so much in school, and you're not complaining about money. Not even that I'm complaining about money because of you. And I was like, that thing pained me. Oh. I never said anything. And it's like, even low-key, sort of like subconsciously woke me up like, all right, bet. And it's like, I don't want that to be the reason that wakes me up. But it's like, I know there's a period like, all right, so like, you girls think, because I realized it's sort of not played with my head like, if she's thinking like this, imagine how many girls think. Because especially for me, like, even up to now, bro, I thought about it like, damn, even me that I do all this TikTok, all this shit, right? Some girls might not even take me seriously, like, oh, what does he do? And all. And I started having this big ego battle. Like, oh, I'm not just a TikToker. I ain't just this. Like, I'm in business. I do streets. I do this stuff. But then it's recently that I had to start asking myself as a man, like, you yourself know what the fuck you do. Why are you letting any of these people that only look from the outside? And that's one thing as men we fail to realize from the outside. A lot of women don't, let me not say women, I don't want to say it's a woman thing, but a lot of people don't see the work you put in to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
You understand? And everybody's time is different because you are doing something here today. Like, it's so funny how, like, 10 years now, like, she's still doing her thing. She's doing very well. But 10 years now, look at what I'm doing now. Yeah. It's everything that I was starting to do then.
You know, the funny thing is, in the end, when you sit back to really look at it, sometimes you think about the things you're doing now as, you'd be like, wait, could this be like a trauma response? Like, could this be a response to, all of that was going on then, and you not trying to have to hear that statement again from somebody else again, stuff like that. And the abuse runs deep because, like I said, it could be emotional, it could be verbal, it could be. Now, I was seeing someone one time where, so the person still, so I guess we're almost deep into already this, like the emotions were already like invested and everything. And then it so happens that, the person was still not over their ex, right? And one of them exes that have a hold on you. And so, like, you can't move on with your life. Every other person that's trying to come, you keep talking about your ex.
Move on, man.
You keep talking about your ex. That's what was happening in her situation.
I get what you are.
You guess, so that was happening. So one of them exes, and the guy would always just, pop his head in every now and then. Mm-hmm. So now, me trying to be the lover boy, God forbid it don't happen again. Me trying to be the lover boy I was trying to be in that, you know what, no, just because you like your ex, not enough for me to leave. As long as you see that you're over him, I'll be here through thick and thin. I understand that, emotions don't just fizzle out like that. You had feelings for him. They won't just die away in one day. I'm going to be here till, like, I'll here to support. Bro, if I could see that's me again, I'll first give me one slap. Just one slap. Make my brain reset. Now, let me tell you what I found out was happening after. So to me, I thought what the person I was wanted to be with wanted was more like assurance that I will still be here, right? There was one time we now had one small fight where, even if I say I want assurance, there's a point you get to where you're, condoning your ex that will start to be hurtful to me in that, okay, it doesn't look like you're trying to end things here. This looks to me like you're trying to fuel whatever, rekindle whatever spark you guys had, right? And I think maybe when I brought that up, then she now throws this, and okay, well, if you want to leave me then. Now,
Don't say that to me, girl.
Now, if you're so emotionally invested in someone that you would actually tell them that I will be with you through this time you're still trying to get over your ex, and then you tell me something like, maybe because of a small fact, you tell me something like, anyway, if you want to leave, then I'm not making you stay. And this is it. This is where the abuse comes in. She knew it was deep manipulation, because she knew that I wasn't going to get up and leave because I couldn't.
Why?
I was already so emotionally invested. Like, how do you just get up and leave for someone that's saying, oh, I really, really like this babe? Another thing was, I guess also maybe I was still in my stage of being self-aware and discovering myself.
I was about to say,
yes,
what you just said now is like when, especially you said something like, there's a red flag I saw in what you said, not you.
Yeah.
There's maybe it's very easy for us to say it now as men when you're, but because I've been through that stage too. But it's like, first off, if you're getting over your ex, I'm not being with you.
Okay.
The fact that even me, I'd admitted, there's times I told girls I'm still getting over my ex, and I realized, like, you can imagine the perspective they're hearing. Secondly, like you just said, that's a Nigerian thing also. Correct me if I'm wrong. That if you want to do it, go now. Like, like in England or something, there's a way they might say different. In Nigeria, go now. If you say that shit to me, go. Like,
so let me give you more perspective on the dynamics of the relationship we had. So remember I said I was still in the stage of trying to be self-aware, discovering myself and all that.
Fair.
Now, this is where manipulative people are horrible, because they know that you don't quite know your personal value yet, right? And so they capitalize on that. So I guess I would say, for lack of a better word, knew that I felt lucky to have her. You know those ones? There are always those girls that feel like they've done you a favor by being the ones that are interested in you. Like, they see it as they see it as they are hotter than you, right? And because they see it as they are hotter than you, they can capitalize on the fact that they know, even if they say, oh yeah, you know what, I'm breaking up with you. In fact, let me tell you, I just remember now.
Men know your worth.
I just remember now that actually what she didn't say was, even after she said, leave if you want to leave, after a while, she now said, you know what, I don't think I can do this anymore, you're choking me. Choking me was me pointing out that she would tell me that, oh, my ex messaged me today. He was thinking of hanging out. I don't know why he's asking me to hang out. And I'm now like, oh, okay, are you going to go? And she's like, yeah, I want to see what he's going to say.
How dumb.
Sorry. Then I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, do you think that's a good idea though? Because I don't see that as helping you get over it. She's not like, okay, you know what? Actually, I feel like you're really like in my space.
You see, no, I get where you're coming from. Because, sorry, that's why I said maybe the Yankee is still hitting. Like, it's like, us for a bit more, I've noticed, because here's one thing I'll give to Nigerians.
Yeah.
They're not as emotional as we are. We're not as emotional as the Yankee, because that kind of thing in Yankee that's why guns are blazing.
Don't kill me, please.
He was like, why would you tell me that kind of... Because people get shot. The Yankee thing's already hitting me. He's like, why the hell? I'm not going to tell you about my ex saying my ex. Why the hell will I go and say, hey, my ex is hitting me up, I want to go and see her. So why the hell will you not go and tell me that kind of thing?
Okay. And you see, the thing is, because I do agree with you, bro, that would call for some gunshots. But the thing is, it's that. So, and I find that, so there's a lot of connection between manipulative people and abuse. There's a lot of connection with it. In fact, most people who are abusers are manipulative. Not in all cases, but most cases, the person that is abusing you is a manipulator. You know why? Because especially when it's emotional abuse, they need to work their way into you first. They work their way into you. They build into character. They really settle into who they want you to see them as. So it could be that it could be that they are actually feeling lucky to have you, right? But they would make you think you're the one being done a favor. So that the day you want to say you want to stand on your own ground and live to where? She would even throw things like, okay, so if you're going to go, where are you going to see somebody like me again?
Hell no, I wish the fuck you would.
You're saying this.
I'm saying this because even if I've been subconsciously in that situation, I'll admit, the only girls that have gotten me in that emotional abuse was more, not that I'll find somebody, who would you find? It was more of a case that they knew my weak point.
Yes. Same.
That was, so my own was like, at the time, they knew that I liked I craved at the time that attention in terms of not like I had to be a star. It's like you actually got to know me for who I was. So it's like you admit, yes. So that's why I said I admit I've been there. So they knew how to hold that.
Work.
But then the other sides of them, like I remember there was this one girl that used to just be like this. Like it's no shame admitting as a man when you've been played by a woman. See, women are smarter than us, whether we want to admit it or not, because they already have that. They're very, very, very emotional beings. You understand? So once they know how to figure it out on a man now, you yourself won't realize what you're in until it's out. That's why it's easy for me to hold my chest.
Yeah.
I will never. Yeah. There's times I've been in the room. No, wait now. Talk to me.
Yes,
now.
and those are the ones.
Wait now. Like, can we?
They will tell you.
And then later on, it's not like Jesus, man.
Bro, let me even tell you. Like, they would have done the deed. That is, they would have hurt you, upset you, whatever it is. You would call it out. And you know the funny thing is, this ends up being traumatic moving forward. You'll call it out, right? You'll be like, okay, you did this, I don't like it. Then they will throw in, okay, well, since you don't like it, then I think we should just end this.
See, that's what I said at this point. Maybe that's why I said now it's triggering that at this point in life, you ain't trying that shit with me.
Yeah, of course.
Because, that's why I said it's triggering for me. Because, like, I look at the old me, it's like, I'm happy. Like, when we talked about it on our old episode about dating early.
Yeah.
That's why I said for me, I luckily learned this from uni, masters, that there's some girls, it's like, this kind of a thing I'm going through now, I know they go through as an adult. I'd rather cut it off early, or I'm man enough now, like we're man enough now to say, I don't like this. And I feel as men to the guys that listen to this, have no shame in saying what you like and don't like. Because I feel a lot of times relationships on the internet or society make you feel like it's just for the woman. Of course, as a man, care for your woman. Let her feel like she's an angel or queen. Yeah. But understand, you yourself, you be spec. You be somebody.
And you also have mental, you have your mental capacity to keep
exactly.
in check.
So she needs to, so the way you're going to make sure she's taken care of emotionally, physical, mentally, she needs to also make sure that you as a man are taken care of physically, emotionally, mentally, in all that. So she needs to, that's why I say you need to date. That's why I told you, that's why we said earlier about, I'd rather date somebody that's my friend, because even friends, we will fight.
Yeah.
But we know our boundaries and respect for each other.
Yeah, and
some people just date based off, I like you. That's how that disrespect comes in. Like, friends, I want us to fight that. You know I don't like that shit. I know you don't like that shit. Okay, you don't like, I apologize. I'm sorry. Because when the person is not your friend, like, I feel that's where it opens the door. Because I've been, like you said, even thinking about what you said, I realized a lot of the disrespect or that thing came when I wasn't truly friends with the person. It was just based off, we like each other, let's try it. Compared to the girls that I got to know and we set our boundaries, it was a bit easier to form. I'm not saying every girl is perfect like that, so because we know how that goes. Like, it can't be every girl. But let me ask you this. Would you say communication now is a key in terms of
avoiding
abuse or setting that boundary for abuse?
I mean, it's an interesting question because I don't even think communication nips abuse in the bud. People who are abusive people will always be abusive people. I don't think it's a trait you can really
unlearn. You say
no.
That?
So I don't say it's a trait you can walk away from. Right? It's a trait you can suppress, but I don't think you can actually unlearn it, because most times abusers are people who have lived their life like. The point they've gotten to has been built on manipulation, built on abuse. Okay, let's look at people who hit women, right? Mm-hmm. Hitting a woman is not something that, when guys say, "Oh, it was a mistake" or a one-time thing, it's not. It was just suppressed.
I would disagree.
Let me let you say your point. Yeah, so you see, you can't call it. I mean, abuse is when you get to the point where you are repeatedly beating the person. Now, physical assaults, in that, okay, one time thing you hit someone, that's not an abusive relationship. If it's a one time,
so say that again. You said abuse is what?
Abuse is if it's repeated. Like you're.
Okay,
do you understand?
Okay, that's different.
So and that's why I'm like, it's not really. You can unlearn. Yeah, someone who is an abuser it's something that, in fact, they think of different ways to make it feel better for them. They kind of feel on that abuse. So it's like they're waiting for the next fight. So I can just have a reason to let out this, and my way of letting out is let me turn this baby into a punching bag or whatever it is. Same thing with emotional abusers, mental abusers, and I say this because they actually navigate life, not just manipulating you that's loving them, but even people generally. Like, they have to twist stories and turn things around just so that it works in their favor. So when it now comes to someone who, you see, and the thing about abusers is that they are always selfish in that more should be coming to them than what they are giving. So so let's say like I'm manipulating someone now, right? Somebody is in love with me. Key thing, in love with me. If I've seen that the person is what I believe I deserve, I'll manipulate the person into wanting to be, into believing that I also feel the same for them. So I'll give an example. Let's say a girl has told me how she feels, and I've looked at her and I say, okay, her father is rich. She has good network connections. She's also a fine babe. She also has good reputation on the streets. I think she's my spec. Now, I don't have any emotional feelings towards her like that, right? But she has presented herself to me, and I've seen that, okay, well, I can make it work. Fine, maybe small cheating here and there, but I'll make it work. Yeah, this is how guys move. See, so okay, now if I'm moving forward, I have to manipulate her into thinking that I like her too. So I'm telling her things like, now it could even be that I just want to smash. Do you understand? I could be telling her things like, oh yes, I was even at work today. I was just thinking about you. This is you working your way into the person, right? So that the day you want to let the ball drop, they don't see it coming at all. And they won't even be able to say a no, I'm walking away from the situation, because they are now too deep in. You've made the person feel like you actually can't breathe without them. Then one day you turn around and say, better stop breathing without me. I don't know what you're talking about. The person's like, what's going on? Which is why I'm saying it's hard for you to say that these people can only suppress it, in that they told themselves, okay, this is not good, I should stop doing this, But it's like a smoker. A smoker doesn't really unlearn the smoking like, oh, you don't know what this is like anymore. They just suppress it in that, look, I need to discipline myself. I need to tell myself that this is not good for me. This is not good for, the longevity of my stay here. But it's a suppression.
No, but here's where I disagree on some stuff.
Yep.
Keyword some stuff. Because even the last example, like you just said now, I'm still going to get to the point, but even like you say a smoker now, if he stopped for years now, you stopped.
Yeah, but it's still suppression. Because the truth is, the fact that it can be triggered into...
So that means, basically what you're saying now is anything you start now, all of it automatically
no.
Because no matter what, if you start something,
you
have to finish it. If you don't finish it, you're continuing.
No, if something is a habit, that is a habit that you have to consciously stop yourself from because it's not good for you. You see, it's two things. You're talking about two different things now. Starting something and finishing it. So things have their cost. They cannot run their cost.
So you just said something. I said stopping something that's not good for you.
Yeah.
You do not realize that even manipulation would be favoring them. So it's not like it's affecting them.
How so?
So let me give you an example. That's more theoretical stuff now, because I was going to give a point where you're saying, but I like I said that. So it's like, if I manipulate people, I'm not good with my words, forgive me. Manipulates somebody into doing something to favor my way, benefits me. There's obviously the cons of it in terms of on them to some people, not me personally, I'm just saying to the person, but if it benefits you, you sometimes have to manipulate people to get what you want. No, that's not necessarily. So even if I manipulate a girl to like me, I'm not saying the example you said. So for example, if there's a girl I really like genuinely, and she's moving a bit tough, of course I'm gonna have to manipulate some things to make her like, not in a forced way, because in the end she still has a choice. But obviously, I'm gonna show an effort or show something like, yo, I gotta show you like me. You get what I'm saying? But then the difference is, like you said, like, if that intention is not for you to like me for who I am, or more of just to use you, that's different. Because even with what you said, I was gonna say women do the same thing. And that's one thing that's not talked about. The way you were just describing this thing, I'm like, people don't talk about when women do it too. Because there are times women could manipulate you, and you don't, as men, we never talk about it. We never talk about when we are manipulated like somebody, and then she could use you for something, or try, in some cases, mainly in Yankee, the trapping.
Yes.
The whole baby daddy
The whole
shit.
baby daddy,
Because
yes,
obviously in this side of the world, like at least I'll say women, they're like they ain't risking that much, like but they still manipulate. Even men to give them money. The men that are giving money or guys are sending money, taking care of women, it's manipulation.
So what I said was so that we get it clear. So I said abusers are in most cases manipulators. Doesn't mean that everybody that's manipulating is an abuser. That's where the difference is. Nobody is saying that manipulation on its own is, don't ever do it. If you're going to navigate life, there are definitely some things. I mean, the word manipulate is to work in your favor, right?
Fair.
But working in your favor doesn't necessarily mean that it should be at the detriment of somebody else. That's where abuse comes in. If you're doing something in the favor that would end up hurting somebody else, probably even causing some kind of traumatic experience to somebody else, but you're doing this regardless, that's where the abuse comes in, right? Where you're now saying that, okay, you're telling somebody you're ready to spend the rest of your life with them. But in your head, you've already said that, okay, once I've done 2 years, I've chopped his money, finish, I'll just jump out. That's manipulation, right? And in the end, when it gets to that point when you're ready to go, and you either just up and disappear, or you let the person know, look, because real emotional abusers will tell you, look, if you think, so you honestly think I could ever end up with somebody like you, like what the hell are you actually thinking? Have you seen yourself in the mirror? Verbal abuse has entered. Have you seen yourself in the mirror? Like, you honestly think, didn't your friends even advise you to, like, aren't you even a sharp man? You know, stuff like that. And you're already sitting here thinking, I came with my innocent intentions to fall in love with somebody, and what's happening?
One thing we don't talk about is when some girls try to abuse or manipulate a relationship with a guy by pouring their insecurities on them.
So it's almost like giving you past questions. It's like, okay, you know, these are the things to not do, things to do, things to avoid, things to...
Like, something like that, but it's like, because obviously we're talking about from the male perspective.
Yeah.
So it's like, for example, now it's like, when you try and manipulate, do saying like, yeah, I'm sure you're the kind of guy that does this, so I know you've probably done this, so you probably think this about me, I never thought.
I actually hate to be in that position.
I hate that thing because I hate
it.
And
girls do it a lot.
And I'm at the point now that
I know you're a big boy now. You even look at my side.
I'm sure you have. And the main thing is like, I'm sure there's this girl. Look, lady, we are both single people. I don't give a. I tell girls this all the time. Especially at this point now.
Yeah.
I'm single. You single. You're a beautiful girl and all. If you go out with me today, I'm grateful. If you go out with another nigga tomorrow, I don't care. It is up to me to make the effort to make you not want to see them.
Exactly.
So I don't need to know about other guys and all
Which
that.
then works the same way for them. Like,
so it's vice versa. I'm not an ugly dude. Of course, they're probably going to be girls talking to me. Doesn't mean I'm entertaining them, though. I can tell you straight up. You get what I'm saying? Because for me personally, girls can go on dates every day if they want to. Guys, we're not spending money every day to go on dates. That's why I get confused on girls saying, I'm sure you're girls every day. Ma'am, if I went with girls every day, how would I be working? Exactly. How would I be able to do the work? The work you see on Insta, you be saying, "My, you're always working." So where's the time for girl?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most annoying types of manipulations, because you're now trying to make me say that I'm attracted to you, just so that I don't want to fit into one stereotype you're already putting me in. And the truth is, and that
pushes me away, Loki.
Loki. Oh, yours is Loki. It pushes me away instantly.
Huh?
Instantly.
No, I give you benefit. And it's allowed for everybody because you don't know me, but there's a certain point that
it's a toxic trait that if you're going to do that, there are other things you're going to manipulate me into thinking or do. Because if you're trying to do that to get to, cajole a question out, an answer out of me, then it means like, what lengths did you now go to say, okay, you want me to change a particular behavioral trait I have that is actually not bad, but it only favors you? Because that's what they will just tell you things like, we're even talking about verbal abuse, where they will tell you, okay, I don't get, all of your friends are making money, what's going on with you? Yes, like women will tell you that. Women will tell you things like...
I just said that, so yeah.
Exactly, so women will even tell you things like, they would even compare you, we're not even talking about the ones that will compare you with the older people that should not even be compared.
No, you see,
because it's verbal abuse, and then you find guys trying to retaliate by now being...
and that's why I say every guy should know themselves to a point that fuck what these people... I'm not saying women, I'm saying people in general. Fuck what people say, because I die if anybody's going to tell me my story in terms of your mates, not like, because as I said, everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
And you cannot let any individual rush your time for when you're doing. If you're doing something that, yes, is not working right now, you know your journey of what you're trying to do. It's only between you and God that knows when that time is going to come.
Yeah.
Because you can be that, especially in Lagos. We always say this thing in Lagos, that Lagos is the only place you can come here today. In a year's time, if you blew,
Yeah.
the same people that are talking shit about you in a year later, boom. So especially, this is just like advice to guys, especially younger guys, is like, do not let anybody, man, woman, put their insecurities or put their doubts in you, because that's what human beings do. You do not need to rush anything, even if you're boys, because look, that's what pressures, even now that we're talking about the topic, I feel that's even what has pressured a lot of guys into going into the illegal activity. Let's be real, doing yahoo and all that. There's some guys that do this because, let's be real, like me, I don't judge. I always tell this thing, that if I'm being real, I know they judge anybody that does yahoo, because it's not my hustle. Everybody's hustle is different.
If that's what they're good
Some
at.
boys are doing it because let's be real, we're in Nigeria, there's no situation, but some of them are smart that they're flipping that shit into doing legitimate shit. While there's some boys are only doing it because one silly girl or something said,
and he needs to show her.
You're not making, okay, so that you're not making money, your mates, and now you want to do yahoo because of a girl. Yeah. A girl that probably, that the amount of money you get, she's going to see another guy with more money, and guess what? She's gone to him.
Exactly, and then you're back to square one again. But I think one last thing we need to check, because I'm sure we have short on time. We even always getting carried away, bro. Yeah, so we should also remember that, abusive relationship, our watchers don't just think it is just a boy girl. You can have abusive relationships with your parents as well, right? You can have very toxic abusive relationships with your friends, right? Now, I'll talk about the parents one because we don't have a lot of time, but I'll just quickly touch on it. Now, there are certain times when, either fathers or mothers are actually physically assaulting, or even, these things end up being traumatic, right? In that you come and, of course, I don't have any of these experiences firsthand, right? I will talk about the physical abuse. I don't have physical abuse experiences firsthand.
Same here.
Even though, yes, we know we come from a culture where
some beatings were not necessary, but it wasn't abuse.
But it wasn't abuse.
But some were not necessary.
Yeah. So abuse is like, how I would look at it is, maybe you come home under the influence and then you feel like you're frustrated and you take out frustration on me or on the siblings. Maybe you say something that shouldn't have sparked anything, and all of a sudden that's like your excuse to now physically assault someone or abuse someone, right? And it's a frequent thing. We already know that, whenever he or she comes back, next thing now, you start throwing hands. Everybody needs to avoid. So, again, I think the earlier we are aware that this is abuse, can't know though early. That's the problem. That's the only thing, because usually when that happens, you are younger, you're vulnerable. Yeah, so it's unfortunate, but I guess this is us trying to talk to the people who will be parents. To be fair, internet age, so they might find out. Yeah, early. Exactly. Because what you just said now is like, our parents, some of our parents. Let's not put every parent in category. Some of our parents, that emotional abuse, they won't realize. Let's not talk about verbal abuse. That's the one I want to get to. That's the one I want to touch. Isn't verbal the same as emotional? No. So verbal is the things they say that affects you emotionally. No. So verbal abuse, I'll give an example. So verbal abuse would be, as in, look at you. Don't you think you're a stupid person? Don't you think you can take... That affects my emotions. But emotional abuse is toying with your actual emotions. So I'll give an example. Saying things like, I know you've done well in school and that's all well and good, but I think next time, look at this person that's doing better. Look at this person that you could have also achieved this. That is emotional abuse. So you see how I'm not using my words. I'm not using my words to directly insult you, so to say. But I'm playing with something else that is deeper. The reason I say it's the same is just because I get... Yeah. That, I do know what you mean, don't worry. So it's like we both understand. Because for me, it's like the fact that you're saying it like this, you bringing it up, you're talking. I already, just hearing your tone and talk already annoys that. It's already abuse that. I know what you mean. Now leads... So what you said, the verbal one, because I'm sure all of us Nigerians, we have been to... There's none of us that have been to that verbal abuse that... parents really put on us. They don't really notice how it affects us. And because we're not brought up in a culture where you're taught to
communicate with your parents in terms of your true feelings for stuff, because it seems like you're being a rebel doing that. It affects a lot of us.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, how like for me, like I've not had any physical abuse and all that, obviously spankings and all that, but subconsciously, like most Nigerian parents, my mom won't realize some of the things she has said.
They really get etched. They get etched.
Because even now, like people know, like I grind hard because like there's some things my mom has said that she won't notice. Like that thing affected me.
Yeah.
And when you try and communicate it, because they were not taught on how to communicate stuff. That's why I said sometimes I don't blame them, because they are still figuring it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're firstborns.
Yeah.
That's another topic for another day, because I feel like that should be a topic. Firstborn
trauma. Firstborn trauma.
We are lab rats.
It's a thing. It's
but
definitely a thing.
Because of time, we had to round up.
Yeah.
Great topic again.
Yeah, it was a great topic.
We can always... things we talk about, I feel like we can always stretch out to different topics. So again, if you guys want to hear more about it, if you want to hear topics under it, comment under. Make sure you subscribe to our channels.
Yeah, so follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Menisms Pod. Send us emails if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions. We're open to suggestions as well. Send us an email at menismspod@gmail.com. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Twitter. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and comment. We read your comments. Again, we keep saying.
We see everything.
Keep bringing those comments in. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know what you guys want to hear. Let us know what topics you want us to talk about. And so I guess I'll see you guys again next week.
All right, so we'll be back again, guys. That will be what is going on today. We will be back again, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. Much love. Yeah. All right.